Okay. If we get ambitious, we can do these down here.
Oh.
All right. Jim, I'm doing a little educational website for for students. So can you maybe tell a little bit about what we're doing, and I can put this on the website?
All of this material came from the Thompson Site, a 16th century site on the Coosawattee River. And this material all came from a very small unit. Now, there are thousands of pieces of material, of pottery and bone, that all came out of the same little square that wasn't much bigger than this table.
Wow.
So it's a very densely occupied site. So, and this material is all from the 16th century, all about the time the Spanish came through. And what we're doing is sorting out this material. This material's all been washed, and now what we're doing is classifying it. Classifying it into kind of rough piles first, pottery and bone, and material rock and flint. And then those are pieces of material down here. These big red things are parts of mud that was packed on the sides of houses. We call that daub. So all that material was packed on the side of a house. And if you look real close, you might see the fingerprint of the person who put that mud in the house. So you see all the little impressions of cane and grass and roots and things. So that material was pressed in the side of the house. All the different animal bones, once we sort out in these piles, then we'll take the bone to a laboratory or have a specialist in animal bone. We'll go through that pile and sort it all out into the different kinds of animals. And there may be 20 different kinds of animals represented in that pile of bones. Everything from squirrel to rabbit to deer to, you name it.
This kind of looks like petrified wood. I don't know.
It does, doesn't it? It does have the graininess of petrified wood. Kind of a soft feel to it.
You can help me with the. Yeah, I'd like any pottery unless it's the model pottery, and that goes down in that pile.
From that stuff.
Now, Jim, we know about chunky, but what about those little game pieces there?
Well, we're not quite sure. Some people think they might be used almost like little poker chips, as markers in a game. Other people say no, maybe they're actually a piece that's used as a game too, but you can't roll them as far. They might have been also used as little tools for polishing a pot or something like that. But I think you find so many of them in concentrated areas that they may be little markers for a game, used in a game in some way. That's what we think.
Lots of things in here, don't you? Lots of shell. These all just sand.
So you've got some types of pottery that are incised, where you take a stick and draw the design, and then other types of pottery that's stamped. That means that you took a wooden paddle, carved the design in the wooden paddle, and stamped the pot with that wooden paddle. So you have both types here of that. And this is actually, looks like a piece of steatite, which is a stone used also to make bowls out of, but usually at a much earlier period, around 0 AD.
Somebody must have been flint knapping around here.
Got lots of plants.
Little handle. This is a little handle for a pot. So you can actually pick the big pot up. Almost like a handle today.
What about this right here?
This is probably used as a tool of some kind. It's got some wear on one side, but it's a rock that came out of this river. And then they've adapted that rock to use as a tool. It was at one time, it was a little bit bigger, more round.
Big pieces.
So when you hear people looking for artifacts, typically they talk about looking for arrowheads, but most of what you're going to find is not what we call points, but
they're usually little knife blades. Even the things that we call arrowheads are usually little knife blades.
Right.
Real arrowheads first started looking like that. And that's a real arrowhead, and those only came into existence about 1,000 years ago.
That's a nice one.
And that's called a Hamilton. We also call it a Hamilton point. Some people say, oh, this was a bird point used for killing birds. Well, that's not true. This is a true arrowhead put on the tip of a small piece of cane or some other stick and then actually used.
And most of what people call arrowheads actually were the tips of spears and
That's right, tips of spears or knife blades.
or knife blades. Right?
If you look at them very closely, they may have one side that's worn a little more than another.
How is it carved bone?
It's actually the natural parts of bone. It looks like it's been carved, but that's actually little ways where the cartilage attaches to the bone. And it leaves
Research project. They built it to see how long it took in terms of man hours and how much labor it took and what the problems were and the like, to get some idea.
An idea on that.
Oh wow.
I think it was stuck.
Here's another piece of raised edge, and it might be a rim shirt as well. But what they did was they took the known techniques of the time, tried to build it in the format and the manner that was done in those days, and found a few problems, got past that. And after they had done a variety of little tests and life-type style tests and all, they went ahead, put some artifacts around in it to be found later by others. Burned it down, buried it, and then